The governor of the free to do whatever Ron DeSantis tells you to state of Florida is at it again, with America's Sunshine State Viktor Orban taking aim at what he refers to as woke corporations. This time, he's proposing new rules on which businesses can get Florida investments, prohibiting those that take into account what is called ESG factors, environmental, social, and governance, a common practice to screen a company's behaviors for crappiness before investing in them. Now, you see, DeSantis is anti-big business, but only when that business does not agree with his policies and ideology. Let us not forget earlier this year when he moved to strip Disney of its self-governance privileges simply because they dared to push back on his hideous Don't Say Gay law. He even went after the Special Olympics for requiring its athletes to be vaccinated, prompting California Governor Gavin Newsom to run ads in Florida denouncing him. These rules aren't just about going after his adversaries, but also helping potential donors, especially as he looks to his reelection campaign and a likely run for president. Because his new rules would also prohibit banks from discriminating against customers for their right-wing political and social beliefs. Just so happens that Daughters of the Confederacy-style activist group Moms for Liberty has complained that the organization and some of its members have seen their accounts frozen by PayPal, a company DeSantis called out by name at his announcement earlier this week. Joining me now is Florida State Senator Shevrin Jones. And, you know, Shevrin Jones, Representative Jones, it's good to see you. Senator Jones, you know, Ron DeSantis really wasn't too pressed about trying to get the money that's invested in companies related to Russia, or, you know, for the state pension fund. But he's now decided to pick through and decide you can get money because you are, you know, in favor of my policies, and you can't get money if you don't like the, you know, Moms for Liberty that wants to get the Black people books out of the schools. Your thoughts?
Well, first, it's good to be with you also, Joy. And for Governor DeSantis, it's clear he's only focused on his own political ambitions and future and not the real concerns of Floridians. Obviously, Joy, big companies and employers, even small employers and companies, they're just like our families and oftentimes have ideological differences internally. With that being said, the issues we face right now as a state and as a country today are truly between life or death for millions of Americans. I think we're seeing this trend constantly with Governor DeSantis, just like you said, that if you don't agree with him, then he's coming after you. He's come after Disney. And I can tell you this, that if this is the trend that the governor plans on going on, I think that we're going to see more businesses deter from coming into Florida because of this, of what the governor is doing, and because their fear of who's next.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he's micromanaging Florida as if it's like a board game where he controls all the pieces, right? I mean, he's going after a single restaurant in Miami. He's going after a restaurant. This is the governor of the state of Florida going after a restaurant because they had a drag show where kids were there. This is not his job. I thought was to run the state of Florida and have a fiduciary duty to the citizens. He's literally targeting individual restaurants because he doesn't like the shows they have. That is fascism on steroids.
Yeah, it's fascism and authoritarianism at its best. It's the same party who calls out for parental rights, but yet and still you want to dictate what parents can and cannot do. And with his attacks on this wokeness, it's clearly a play for his 2024 presidential playbook. He's decided to take a scorched earth approach in his quest for power. And we have real issues that need to be addressed. And the governor is chasing boogeyman. And Joy, here's the clear thing. We have an affordable housing crisis with exuberant rent hikes of up to 30% that people can't afford. We have surging property insurance rates. We have a healthcare crisis with 22,000 Floridians with disabilities who are on a wait list to get the services that they deserve, but they can't because the governor is running for president and not being the governor of Florida.
Well, he's running for president and also running restaurants and making sure that they don't have shows he doesn't like. I mean, this is you have neo-Nazis demonstrating and chanting, vote for DeSantis. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't seem to be bothered by neo-Nazis marching around. But he's bothered by school books that he thinks might say slavery was bad or might make white children feel uncomfortable because it talks about race. But he doesn't mind the neo-Nazis. They demonstrated outside of Turning Point USA's Student Action Summit this weekend and had flags that said DeSantis country. That doesn't bother him at all. So the things that upset him are pretty specific, right? He doesn't want people to be vaccinated against COVID, but he's like, go ahead and get COVID. I'm going to not have any mask mandates, but you need to go to my donor's little pop-up shop here and get the treatment because my donor makes the treatment. Everything he does seems to be about his personal ideology, his personal peaks, and money for himself in his future elections.
Absolutely. And I think we've been seeing this for the past 2 years. And I've said it once and I say it again, that when Governor DeSantis came with HB1, when he wanted to measure how blacks went out to protest, I think that should have been our first sign to see what direction that Governor DeSantis was going in.
And yet, a lot of national Republicans are literally shoving Donald Trump over a bridge to grab DeSantis. I mean, he's losing ground to DeSantis. Poll after poll is showing him gaining on Trump. It seems that he's the replacement. Is he acting at this moment like he's already looking past the state of Florida, ignoring now his current job, other than managing what restaurants are doing? Is this guy running for president?
Well, he's definitely running for president, and it's clear that Governor DeSantis has totally already looked past the needs of the state of Florida. Looking at the needs that the laundry list of needs that I just made mention of, it's the culture wars that he believed that works because it plays into his base, and they utilize the culture wars as a tool to distract from the bigger issues that impact people every single day. And the fact that we're pushing back on this is really ridiculous. But here, let's take this a step further. You have a teacher shortage of 9,000 teachers, and it's what they want to do is exactly what's working. They want to create this confusion with our classroom. They want to create this confusion with our teachers and parents, so parents can put their children in private schools, so he can continue to grow his base. This is all playing out now in Florida, and it hasn't, and we haven't even gotten into the real issues that Florida needs to deal with. We have hurricane season on the other end that the governor has not addressed, that we're not doing anything about. But yet and still, we have this issue, which is now the new issue for the state of Florida under Governor DeSantis in the free state of Florida.
Supposedly free state of Florida. Meanwhile, he's torching the tourism industry, going after and getting in lawsuits with the cruise ship industry, going after Disney. This is the bread and butter of the state. And apparently he wants to destroy it because he wants essentially everyone to be white Christian nationalist in ideology, or at least pretend to be. Otherwise, he'll get mad. And if he gets mad, then he just decides to hurt you. That is not being governor, Ron DeSantis. That's not being governor, sir. You could probably just be a pundit and do that. Florida State Senator Shevrin Jones, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend.